Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm Lauren Malloy, and I know it's Christmas Day, December 25th, so a lot of people are with their families, their friends, their loved ones, but I also know that at this time, a lot of people are stuck by themselves, that all over the place, people have been told that they can't be with their loved ones. I also know that this holiday can be very stressful, very sad, and make a lot of people feel very, very alone. So, the reason I've popped on is not only just to say Merry Christmas, but to be with you for a little bit, distract you from a little bit of stuff that might be bothering you, and talk about some fun, silly stuff. I'm going to try it again. Legendary Christmas monsters. So please pop up into the comment section, and I'd love to talk with you guys. I really am not doing anything other than wanting to talk with all of you. That's really why I'm here. I figured the topic would be fun to talk about some, legendary, creepy, December spirits. I talked about that on the Delvin Talk Show a little bit, but I really am only here so that you guys and I can chat for a little bit, so that, if you're feeling alone or sad or stressed, that we can talk about it if you'd like. But really, I figure there's a ton of spirits and legendary monsters and things like that I've never heard of. I discovered about Bell Snickle yesterday, as well as a little bit of here and there stuff. So I started really doing some research, if you'd like, into some of these characters and monsters that we don't always talk about or even know about. So if you want to know what Bell Snickle's all about, you could do your own research, or you could drop into the Delvin Talk Show. This past Tuesday's show on the 22nd, we talked about that a little bit, but we're really just going to talk about some interesting legendary characters, so feel free to share the video. Please comment, let me know you're here, because like I said, I'm really only popping up so that we could all interact and connect for a little bit on Christmas, so that if you're feeling alone or sad, I'm here. Let's talk, let's chat, let's laugh. So I'm going to jump right into it. One of the December evil spirits is called Gryla, and she's from Iceland. So she's a giant troll who leaves her cave dwellings to kidnap and feast on the naughty children who haven't obeyed their parents. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Gryla, I mean, has anybody even heard of that before? Right? I mean, I know, right? So it really is kind of fascinating. So the hideous being is supposedly a mother of the giant Yule lads, which I'll get into in a second. But Icelandic Christmas folklore has some very interesting stuff. So Gryla is a giantess with an appetite for flesh of mischievous children, who she cooks the kids in a large pot. She's supposedly the mom of the Yule lads, which is another very interesting bad kind of character. They actually even have some street festivals in Iceland for Gryla and her husband. And I think it's kind of interesting that there's so many stuff that we don't talk about anymore, but like a giantess from the 13th century that ate children makes me think a little bit of Hansel and Gretel. Hi, Nick. Merry Christmas. Oh, from Ireland. You make me so happy. I love knowing that I have friends and people from all over the world that I get to interact with. How was your Christmas? I know there's a huge times change, so I don't know how many hours difference there is between me. It's 1:36 p.m. right now for me, Eastern Standard Time. So I'm not sure what time it is there for you, but did Santa show up? I woke up this morning and I got another new pajama nightgown, red plaid. I love plaid. So, Nick, thank you for joining. And have you ever heard of Gryla? I've never heard of her before. So yeah, she can detect who are misbehaving, and then she comes from the mountains into the nearby towns, hunts children, and carries them back in a giant sack, which the giant sack thing, seems to be a connective ingredient in a lot of these characters, like Krampus. Anybody who knows about him at all, he throws children in a big sack too. So it's interesting that a lot of them are like, all right, these kids are bad. We're throwing them in a sack and we're going to go eat them or, whatever. Since I brought up the Yule lads are supposed to be Gryla's sons, I should say. Oh, wow. I didn't even realize this. Now, if anybody has watched the Sabrina Adventures, the new version, interestingly enough, Gryla and the Yule lads pop into that a little bit. So, and it just clicked into my head. Oh, wow. It's 6:37 there. Wow. See, I knew there's a bunch of hours difference. So, that's so awesome. There's so many hours difference. And, do you guys do like a actual Christmas dinner? Is there something specific in Ireland and your family that you guys do, that makes like Christmas dinner special, or is it Christmas morning? So in my family, we do a lot of stuff on Christmas Eve. I even get to open up one present on Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day is really more about the Christmas morning and brunch and stuff like that. We do have like, a nice dinner, but I feel like that's more like, because it's like, oh, thank God we're done celebrating, not in like a bad way, but more like, whew, that was fun. Okay, let's eat some good food. So I always love hearing how people's holidays and traditions go. So anyway, going back to the Yule lads, it's not 2, it's 13 sons of Gryla. Okay, so when the Yule lads appear, which they're not allowed in my space, just in case, they're a group of 13 mischievous pranksters who steal from or otherwise harass the population and all who have descriptive names that generally convey their favorite way of causing mischief. They arrive one by one over the final 13 nights leading up to Christmas/Yule. They leave small gifts in shoes that children place on windowsills. But if the children have disobeyed, they leave a potato in the shoe instead. I guess it's kind of like the transition of coal, because if we think about it, how many places didn't have coal, or how long before coal was even used, right? So it's depending where people were, what they had available to them. When these stories were even created would be based on the stuff that, got woven into it, like a sack instead of like a trunk of a car. So I think it's also interesting they leave a potato in the shoe instead of coal. And I think the fact that this giantess named Gryla had 13 mischievous sons is fascinating, because 13 is a number that pops up very often. And it's also interesting because it's supposedly that they constantly show up for 13 nights before it. So 13 number seems to be very prevalent in the Yule lads, and it says each of them stay 13 days. There are 13 names here that I am not able to say Icelandically, of course. But the English translations, let's see. There's sheep, coat, cult. Now, if I say any of these wrong, please, I mean no disrespect to anybody who understands the languages, the traditions. I don't mean any disrespect. There's gully gawk, stubby, spoon licker, pot scraper, Bowl Licker, Door Slammer, Sky Gobbler, Skyr, which is supposedly similar to yogurt, but more like cottage cheese from what I'm seeing. Sausage Swiper, Window Peeper, Doorway Sniffer, Meat Hook, Candle Stealer. And that's the order that they supposedly arrive as well. So the first one, Sheep Cult Called, harasses sheep, but is impaired by his stiff peg legs. Gully Gawk hides in gullies, waiting for an opportunity to sneak into the cowshed and steal milk. Stubby, abnormally short, steals pans to eat the crust left on them. Spoon Licker steals and licks wooden spoons, is extremely thin due to malnourishment. Pot Scraper steals leftovers from pots. Bowl Licker hides under beds waiting for someone to put down their ASKUR. Askur. A type of bowl with a lid used instead of dishes, which then he steals. Door Slammer likes to slam doors, especially during the night, waking people up. Scry Gobbler, once again, has an affinity for skyr, similar to yogurt. Once again, it's SKYR. Sausage Swiper hides in the rafters and snatches sausages that have been smoked. Window Peeper, a snoop who looks through the windows in search of things to steal. I always think it's kind of interesting that he doesn't show up first, like to let everybody know what's the greatest things to take. Anyway, Doorway Sniffer, it's a little awkward, has an abnormally large nose and an acute sense of smell, which he uses to locate leaf bread. Laufenbrot. I don't know. LAUFABRAUO with a over it. Meat Hook uses a hook to steal meat. Self-explanatory. Candle Stealer follows children in order to steal their candles, which was once made of tallow, TALLOW. I said it wrong, and thus is edible. So, tallow is rendered from beef or mutton fat and is usually solid at room temperature. Ah, I learned something new. That's really kind of cool. Okay. So those are the 13 kids of the giantess, which I think is very interesting. You know, it's going to be funny next time around Christmas. Anytime a door slams or something happens, I'm going to be like, it's one of the Yule lads. Now, this information about the Yule lads, I looked up on Wikipedia. So if any of this is wrong, argue with Wikipedia. With the 13 Yule lads being so popular, some were said to be sons of Gryla, others were her brothers, but there's some obscure stuff about that, which makes sense because, you know, a very long time ago, everything was word of mouth. So, you know, one story would slightly change this, that, and the other. But each one of them always had their own characteristic prank, and they were listed in different, like, categories. So, like, you know, those who steal food, those who, you know, harm, those who cause disillusions from nature, things like that. Like the gully hawk who hides in the gullies, it says. There in the east of Iceland, it says there's a folk tale about a specific group of Yule lads who didn't come from the mountains like Gryla, but supposedly from the ocean. Now, this one's a very obscure nursery rhyme mentioned there being two female Yule pranksters who steal melted fat by either stuffing it up their nose or putting it in their socks. It's a little... Now, I gotta ask, has anybody heard of any of these characters? I mean, the only reason I have any, like, inkling of anything about the Yule lads is really because of that Chilling Tales of Sabrina on Netflix, however you say it. I do know her 4th season of that show is coming out on December 31st. So I am excited to see how that all plays out. I wasn't really going to start the show at first because it seems to have very, like, demonic heavy connections. And then you realize it really isn't like that. And they're kind of cleaning up and addressing some stuff and changing some stuff. So I really actually wound up really appreciating where they took that story. So that's why I'm actually curious to see where it goes. But imagine this giantess comes out of the mountains, and not only does she eat children, but she has 13 sons who will go cause pranks and steal stuff and all sorts of stuff. There is also the Yule Cat. Now, we talked about the Yule Cat in the last episode of Delve In, so I am not going back into that. If you want to know more about the Yule Cat, please watch the 1222 episode of Delve In, either on Facebook, YouTube, or any of the podcasting channels like Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever. Moving right along. So you have this giantess that steals children. You have her 13 sons who either steal stuff or slam doors or, you know, all this stuff. And I mean, think about the names too. Spoon licker, window peeper, door slammer. I mean, so fascinating. And Icelandic culture has some very interesting stuff. Like I said, there's also the Yule Cat. Let's see. Oh, we all know about the Grinch, right? I mean, quite frankly, I'm not touching it. I'm not going there. But I love that it's in the list of stuff. Now, there's La Befana, which is Italy, and she's nice. So that's a good thing. She's like a gentle old witch, and, you know, she leaves cookies in children's houses. So it's kind of cool that Italy has a nice one, right? But then in Scandinavia, let's see, we also have the Tomten, which is supposedly like a garden gnome, but it's protector of each house. So you're supposed to leave food out for it. So any of you that have some garden lawn gnomes out there on your lawn and stuff that's gathering snow, maybe leave some, you know, little food out for them. Hey, you never know. We talked about Belsnickel on Delve In as well, and we talked about Krampus on the last episode of Delve In. So I am actually skipping both of those. Oh, Joanne, happy hearts, happy holidays. So happy you stopped by. Guys, please feel free to share the video for others, because I know right after everybody's, you know, gotten their presents and everything, it can feel like a very lonely time. So that's why I did this, so it could be a bit of a distraction and we can all connect. So Joanne, how was your holiday? Did you have a very nice Christmas? Do you do anything special for Christmas dinner? Do tell. I'm so happy you stopped by, sweetheart. And we are going to have to connect and talk, because I know we've been meaning to, about all sorts of business stuff. We'll do that later. Anyway, moving right along so that people don't get bored. In Austria, there was Frau Perchata. Now, I probably said it wrong. We know I'm not great with these, but I'm doing the best I can. Frau, F-R-A-U, and then P-E-R-C-H-T-A. In Austria. Now, she is supposedly very naughty. She is a gruesome witch who doles out both rewards and brutal punishments to those deserving during the 12 days of Christmas. Now, I'm going to look her up a little more. Oh, she pops up right away, too. And I am right now using predominantly Wikipedia. That way, if you wanted to, you can look into it more for yourself as well. But, it's so fascinating where some of this stuff comes from. Let's see. Here we go. Sorry, it took a second to load. Frau Perchetta was the terrifying Christmas witch. Frau Perchetta isn't as well known as Krampus, which is a shame, because this Christmas time goddess / witch / all around terrifying gal deserves a lot more press. Now, this I'm reading from bowelsofthedead.com. So, oh, sorry, burrowsofthedead.com. If I lean in too closely, all you see is my forehead. So sometimes, yeah, vision, it's a thing. So burrowsofthedead.com has this amazing article on Frau Perchetta and terrifying Christmas witch. Now, has anybody ever heard of that one? I honestly have never. And the cool thing about being supposedly goddess, witch, terrifying gal is very fascinating. So she is a staple in the alpine regions of southern Germany and Austria. but relatively under the radar in North America. She was also known as Bertha. I bet she didn't want to be called that. Or Spinning Room Lady. Now, you guys got to look this person up because there's some very interesting, very old pictures that I found of her that's connected on this page as well. And it's really weird and creepy. So, she is often depicted with a beaked nose made of iron, dressed in rags, carrying a cane, and generally resembles a decrepit old crone. But this old crone packs a mighty wallop and carries a long knife hidden under her skirt. So that's creepy. She also bears a resemblance to the Scandinavian goddess Frigga, and both of them share one obsession in common: spinning, specifically, and domestic neatness generally. Frankly, she's pretty judgy about the state of your home for a woman who dresses in rags. Legend has it if you'd better get all your flan spun by the 12th night, January 6th. For when Christmas season was over, it would be time to set up the big upright loom, at which time you must have enough thread to warp it and start your weaving. What is Frau Perchatta's punishment for those lazy ladies who haven't finished all their weaving? Well, in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, there were numerous tales of her trampling and even setting fire to half-spun fibers. It says she hates mess. So you've even failed to leave out if you haven't left a traditional bowl of porridge for her, well, then rampaging will extend far beyond your slovenly spinning room. She'll do nothing less than steal into your bedroom, disembowel you, and replace your guts with rock and straw. What the beep? So if you have a messy house or you didn't finish spinning, this woman would come into your room, cut you open, take all your organs and intestines out, and put rocks and straw inside. Dude. Could we just take a moment how badass that is? And, like, creepy. Seriously, like, that's some extreme stuff. So, she does more than check up on your spinning, let's say. It says, she flies through the night sky attended by an army of lost souls, including the demonic-looking Perchettins, which are her army of servants, who are usually visually nearly indistinguishable from Krampus. The only way to know is Krampus rides abroad at St. Nicholas Eve, while Perchettin tend more toward Epiphany and the last 3 Thursdays before Christmas, also known as Burchettel nights or knocking nights. Among her army of the night are souls of unbaptized children. Legend has it, if you hear the wind and thunder roaring and rumbling through the mountains on knocking nights, you're really hearing the sound of Perchetta leading the wild hunt. Ugh, that's crazy. Another one of Frau Perchetta's name is Holly, a winter goddess who is named meaning shining or bright, hence her association with Epiphany, or the shining night, on which the star of Bethlehem shone down. Oh, we just had that the other day. Her dual nature is expressed in the fact that there were both evil and ugly Perchettins and pretty Perchettins, both of whom you'll find in the typical run of alpine regions of Europe. Fascinating. She'll put rocks and straw inside of you if you leave a mess, okay? Like, can we go back to that moment? So this January 6th, instead of bemoaning the fact that Christmas is over, why not celebrate Perchententag by telling your kids they better clean up their rooms or Frau Perchetta will come and disembowel them in the night? Kids love that sort of thing. All right, can I just give like a round of applause to whoever wrote this article? I love that that's how she ended it. I assume it's a woman. I apologize if it isn't. It actually, there's no name attached to this article at all. Only burrowsofthedead.com is the site. So, look it up there. And whoever wrote it, that was really hilarious. I know I keep saying but my brain is stuck on the fact that she'll disembowel and put rocks and straw inside instead. I mean, could we go back to how this is a super festive, happy holiday? Let's see who else we got. Trying to see if there's any that we don't really talk about. Ooh, yeah. Oh, I don't even know how to say this one. From Wales, Mari. It's just a bunch of letters, so I'm not sure how to do it. LWYD. Mary Lloyd? Oh, I know I said that wrong. I wonder how we say that one. So, there it is. I love that it pops up right away. Oh, it's really cool, though. Okay, so it's literally like a horse skeleton head that they put on like a pole and carry around in towns and stuff. What? You got to look up the pictures on this guy. This is so funny. Only funny because like you don't expect them to have like big green googly eyes and like a veil of white and then just skeleton horse head. It is Welsh, obviously, and from South Wales. And it entails using a hobby horse, which is made from a horse's skull, mounted on a pole, and carried by an individual hidden under a sackcloth. So, like, the person's literally under that white veil I'm talking about with the horse head in front of them. So that by itself would be interesting to watch. Maybe next year when we're all allowed out of our houses and around each other, we should have one of these just in the street. That'd be freaking hilarious. That with, like, a bunch of Krampuses all in one kind of festival. Imagine all the cosplayers being able to make that happen. That'd be really cool. The first time the custom was recorded, they say it was in 1800. I said that word. 1800. I don't know what happened there. And it is performed at Christmas time by groups of men who would accompany the horse on its travel to the local area. They carry the horse dressed as stock characters such as Punch and Judy. Men who carry the Mari Louis, there's no way I'm going to say that right, to local houses where they would request entry through the medium of song. So I guess they're singing at you while holding a horse skull in your face. The households would be expected to deny them entry again through song, and then two sides would continue their responses to one another in this manner. So kind of like an opera, without the really loud, high-pitched stuff, basically. They're singing at each other, no, you can't come in. Yes, I need to come in. So that would be entertaining to record and watch. Eventually, the household is supposed to relent, and the team would be permitted entry and given food and drink. So they're supposed to do this to every single house. It's like going Christmas caroling, except with skulls. So that's kind of badass. I can't really get over it. Some of this stuff is awesome. I mean, really, imagine somebody knocks on your door. You open the door, and there's a horse's head and people singing "Let Me In." Yeah, I definitely would say no at first too. I'd be like, F nah. It really is fascinating. It contains a horse's head decorated with ribbons and to a pole, and then a white sheet is attached to that, which then conceals the pole and the person carrying it. I don't understand why, though, still. The custom used to begin at dusk and often lasted late into the night. Well, yeah, imagine you have to sing back and forth with each individual at their house. Please let me in, no. Please let me in, no. Okay, come in, have a drink. Like, and then you're supposed to drink and eat with them and do it to the next house. That's a very long day and night for these people. I'm still not sure why they're doing it. I'm like reading all these things going, I don't understand. I don't understand why. Still don't understand. Nope. The pictures are strange, those guys. I wish I could share them with you right now. It's so weird. Dude, I don't even understand some of these pictures. It's amazing. And I don't mean any disrespect, by the way. I just was reading the Wikipedia thing, and it's kind of like it wasn't really explaining to me why they were doing this. So I'm looking for more information. It's so weird. This one says, is a midwinter pagan tradition whereby celebrants earn food and drink only after dominating a poetry slam fronted by a skeletal phrase. It's a pre-Christian practice, of course. I don't know. I mean, I know the whole thing about wassailing, but like where you're drinking and merry times and those things. But I don't know why they're doing it. Like, I keep reading it and I still don't really understand. See me just shaking my head? Like, I just keep shaking my head going, okay, I'm going to move on, because although I kind of get it, they're not explaining in any case why they needed this horse's head to freak people out to give them food and drink. Because, I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand. It's really weird. Yeah, I really don't mean any disrespect. I just keep trying to find out, like, exactly why they would be doing this. Like, what is it supposed to be doing? Everywhere I'm reading it, it doesn't actually give me a freaking, like, why are you doing this? So if anybody knows why, I would love it. I mean, besides just, here's a horse's head, give me food and drink at their doorstep. I mean, I guess it's because of the horse that they had and they respect, so now they're reusing the skull from it. I mean, I know that's supposed to be like common sense, I guess, but at the same point, it's a very big custom for a bit of a strangeness, in my opinion. Only because, like, most of the other stories we've discussed, it makes sense. You were bad. Here's a scary character who will eat you unless you clean your room or wear clean clothes, and unless I just keep skipping the understanding. I mean, they're literally putting pieces of glass to make eyes. I don't know why we're doing this. I don't know. The head was literally buried all year and then was dug up to be used during Christmas time. It's bizarre. I mean, I guess it's for the horse. If you guys understand and I just seem to keep missing it, please let me know, because it's been a really hard December and I'm doing the best I can. But other than it's just fucking cool to walk around knocking on people's doors, singing at them with a horse's skull in their face. I mean, all right. You see me still looking like, what? What? It's the ghost. Be nice or they'll eat you. I don't know. All right. Moving right along, because that broke my brain. It literally broke my brain. Anyway, guys, please, I'm really doing this so that you and I can interact, that we can spend a little time, that if you're having a hard time this holiday season, there's somebody here that's saying, listen, I'm here, I care, let's have a bit of a distraction. Please remember you're meant to be here. If you're looking for a sign, this is your sign, okay? This is your moment of do not tap out on the universe. You are meant to be here. We need you for 2021. No storm lasts forever. Please, seriously, I'm not bullshitting at all. I'm being absolutely serious with you. And yes, if you think I'm talking to you, I am talking to you. So please, 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 that's literally why I'm doing it, because, everything has really been so difficult for all of us, all these different changes. And we went from knowing exactly how our holiday goes every year to Holy Toledo. Everything's different this time. So that's why I've popped up again to be like, hey, let's talk. Let's take some time together, So another one is Hans Trap. Hans Trap is another anti-Santa who hands out punishment to bad children in regions of France. The legend says that Trap was a real man, a rich, greedy, and evil man who worshipped Satan and was excommunicated from the Catholic Church. He was exiled into the forest where he preyed upon children, disguised as a scarecrow with straw jutting out from his clothing. He was about to eat one boy he captured when he was struck by lightning and killed, a punishment of his own from God. That's what it says. Still, he visits young children before Christmas, dressed as a scarecrow to scare them into good behavior. Fancy. Pierre Fouettard. I'm never going to say that right again. Fouettard, another French legend, whose name translates to Father Whipper. This story begins with an evil butcher who craved children to eat. There's a lot of cannibalism in these stories. A lot of people eating children. Yikes. Okay, so it begins with an evil butcher who craves children to eat. He or his wife, which they don't even name, lure 3 boys into his butcher shop where he killed, chopped, and salted them. St. Nicholas came to the rescue, rescued the boys, and took custody of the butcher. Okay. That doesn't make sense. How did he rescue? Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. Resurrected the boys. That changes everything. So supposedly St. Nicholas has powers of resurrection also. So he came to the rescue, resurrected the boys, and took custody of the butcher like he was a cop. The captive butcher became Pierre Fouettard, St. Nicholas' servant, whose job it is to dispense punishment to bad children on St. Nicholas' Day. That story makes my head hurt a little bit. So his name is supposedly Father Whipper, but nowhere do they say that he actually whipped anybody. And now, not only did he kill them, chop them up, and salted them, but that's fine. That's okay. St. Nicholas also now has resurrection powers, supposedly in France. Resurrected the boys and took custody of the butcher. But, he knew what he did to the kids and then decided to hire him to dole out punishment to kids. Okay. I mean, I guess better under his supervision versus, I don't know. I would have just got rid of him, but okay. That's a weird one. Anybody think Santa Claus has resurrection powers? I mean, I didn't. So St. Nicholas now has resurrection abilities and brought the boys back. Now, I have to make a joke. Do you think the boys were super salty about it? Sorry, super bad joke. Couldn't help myself. Oh, man. I know, it's messed up. But I mean, quite frankly, has anybody ever heard of that? I mean, so there's a few of these where, like, I'm literally just baffled, utterly baffled by some of these stories. Because, like, the horsehead one is strange because, like, nowhere that I read is it anything, like, to really do with anything. I don't understand besides its own version of caroling, except with skulls. Like, I get that they loved the horse and it was like a, maybe it was a horse from battle and all this stuff, but, like, they left the skull buried all year and then dug it up and brought it to your house and was like, feed me, Seymour. And that's cool. I mean, I don't know. That's weird, right? All right, so here's one I've never heard of. Lucy. Now, Lussi, so I probably said it wrong, but it's from Norway. On the 13th of December is St. Lucia Day. St. Lucia is represented as a beautiful young woman. Nowadays, the occasion is marked by a young woman in white sashes to represent the saint. However, something a little different, Lucy's night was the night when evil spirits and demons rose up to wander the earth. Children needed to be good, and the adults warded off evil by protecting their homes with the sign of the cross. Lucy was portrayed as a hideous demon with tyrannical powers. She rode through the skies on a broomstick, accompanied by demons, evil spirits, and trolls, spreading mayhem and chaos, destroying property, crops, and livestock. And there it is, kidnapping or killing anyone foolish enough to not be tucked up safely in bed. So this one, if you're not in bed, she'll kill you. The other one, it's like if you didn't finish your weaving, they'll kill you. You didn't wear a new outfit to bed, we'll kill you. Yikes. There's a bit of a pattern here, folks. They're eating children. Children are salty about it. This one comes from Turkey and Serbia. Let me try again. Karakonkolos. The Karakonkolos, I don't know if I said that right, is generally portrayed as a cross between the devil and a Sasquatch. Well, there's a new one. In Turkey, he would stand at street corners on winter nights setting riddles for passersby. Could you imagine he said the Riddler on them? Jim Carrey shows up in his outfit. Riddle me this. But what it reminds me of really is Mr. Tumnus from Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. Slightly. That's what popped into my head, was a little bit of the Mr. Tumnus character. So he would stand on street corners and set riddles for passersby. If the traveler gave an answer that included the word black, they were free to go on their way. If not, he would strike them dead with a single blow. That's a little intense. That's a lot. So if somebody asks you a question and they say, what's your favorite color? I guess just say black, just in case. Especially if a guy is like riddling you on the corner. That sounds so gross. It really does. It does. That didn't sound right. Anyway, this character's favorite trick was to disguise their voice to pretend to be someone's friend or relative and lure their intended victim out into the snow. Could we just take a moment and notice that in many different types of evil spirits and demonic entities, often one of their talents or abilities is to make you think you're hearing somebody either in danger or someone you care about to go follow. So that's why anytime somebody will be like, oh, I think I heard, I'm like, you sure? You sure you heard what you heard? Like, yeah. Anyway, this creature would sometimes set them in a trance and leave them to roam free. But in Serbia, the Karakonkolos preferred to jump on the victim's back and use them as a personal taxi service. The exhausted person was only released at dawn. That reminds me slightly of the movie Poltergeist. No. Where, like, it was forcing the person to do everything, kind of like a puppet, but not. I like how some of these have kind of similar nods to other stuff that we see in a lot of the movies that we watch that have entities and things like that. But if you invite one of these into your house, they would feel compelled to intimidate their host's behavior. If you set fire to silk or thread, would be tricked into setting fire to their own fur and would run from the house screaming to find water. All right, so now we know how to get them out of the house. Excellent. Have you ever heard of that? Isn't that amazing? So Turkey and Serbia, they have a fascinating one, huh? And I think it's a little strange that that one seemed easier for me to say than the others. But so there's one in Greece. Kallikantazaroi. Didn't say that right. Kallikantazaroi. So in Greece, a group of demons called those were said to spend the year underground sawing through the tree of life that ran through the earth. So mean. Each December, when just a single thread held the tree together, the 12 days of Christmas would compel them to come overground and wander the earth. So what, singing that? Or the first 12 days of Christmas make them do it? I'm not sure. By their return in January, the tree had repaired itself and they had to start again. So I wonder if that's where that 12 Days of Christmas song came from, and like singing it was kind of the way to distract and stop them from killing the tree of life. And that's why that song is even around. Imagine that's really where the origin of that song came from. I mean, I don't know where that song came from or why, right? But we have a lot of parodies of it. That's fascinating. So maybe that's one of those, like, every year people really should be singing that song, just in case. Just in case. You never know. Let's save the tree of life. We need it. Let's see. Once overground, they caused mischief and chaos, but above all, sought to steal any children born over the 12 days of Christmas and turn them into fellow demons of their kind. I'm not going to try to say that again. They could be kept at bay by binding newborn babies in straw and garlic. Once again, the straw theme. You could also stop the creatures from getting into your house by placing a colander outside the door. Colander? I know what it is. I just confused. It really is. Perforated bowl used to strain off liquid from food. You're placing a colander outside the door. Oh, I see. Okay. It says that this group of demons would be compelled to count the holes. But because the number 3 is holy in Greek, they would fail to count that number and would have to start again. This would This would keep them busy until sunrise, when the house would be safe until darkness fell again. That's interesting to me because in a lot of the myths, the legends and myths about demons, there's another one where forcing them to count things saved the day. So there's some similar weaves and threads of information that I find fascinating. The whole thing with straw, the whole thing where causing them to have to count things, the belief of singing to either distract or protect. And imagine all our Christmas songs, the traditional ones, the ones from, the good old days. Imagine the reason they all started was they were musical spells to keep us safe. Wow, what a weird, interesting thought, right? I mean, maybe that's why it's always been so important in a way, why it's such a huge theme in a way, that we have these songs that every year we need to hear and that make us feel right about Christmas and all that stuff. Maybe because in some way there's an underlying energy that feels good. I don't know. I mean, hey, I'm learning. We're all learning. I find it fascinating. So you could put a colander outside and it would count the holes. But remember, it needs to be like divisible by 3, so that would keep failing because the number 3 is holy. Let's see. We talked about the Christmas cat on the Delve-In episode. We talked about Krampus on the Delve-In episode. We've talked about a lot of interesting monsters, quote unquote, of the Christmas season. And I find it so fascinating. You can tell I do. But how many of those have you ever heard of, really, right? I mean, there's a lot of them. So I don't know if anybody else found this interesting or enjoyed listening or watching, but I hope this gave you a good feeling, gave you a good moment in your day if you're having a rough day. There's a bunch of stuff you get to look into if you wanted, like the Christmas zombie horse, that horse skull. And there are tons that I really haven't even talked about, but there are plenty that I have. And I do think it's fascinating how many supposedly eat children, right? Like, just so interesting. So anyway, I do hope that this was fun for you. I hope that, you had a good moment with me and maybe learned something and found something fascinating like I did. Maybe this next Christmas we'll sing more traditional Christmas songs to keep the energy good. But no matter what, I need you to know I appreciate every one of you for being a part of my life, a part of my journey, that I want all of you to be staying happy and healthy and safe, not only this holiday season, but for all the days coming up. I need you to understand how important you are to everything that's going on in this world, whether you see it, feel it, or believe it. It's still absolutely true. And yes, I'm talking to you. Don't doubt it. I'm talking directly to you. Yes, you. You might not understand this because sadness and depression lies and makes you feel so overwhelmed that it's difficult to have any thoughts of light come in. But here's one for you. You absolutely matter, because every single one of us is a domino in somebody else's domino effect. Every person you interact with, every person you speak to, wave at, smile at, like a post, share a thing, it all triggers the next moment in our world. And that's not a bad thing. Every single person I have interacted with in this life helped make my life exactly what it is in this moment. That's not a bad thing. If you're sitting by yourself, sad, you have still made a difference in somebody's life for knowing you, for seeing you, for your energy existing. And please do not tap out on this world because you think you haven't made a difference, done enough, good enough, or anything else. Because you do not know the incredible things you will do in days to come. You can say, I'm not going to do anything. I just sit here. Great. You will affect somebody else's life that helps them with their life. That's a guarantee. Whether it's going through a store and holding a door open, picking up a penny that fell and gave it back to the person, waving, smiling, nodding, telling somebody have a good day. Doesn't matter how small or insignificant you might think that is. You are the catalyst for the next moment in somebody's life. Without you in it, it's devastating. You are here just as I am, just as we all are, because we are meant to be here. No matter how hard or tough the journey and road can be, no storm lasts forever. Sunshine will come out again. You will have stories of joy to talk about, moments of happiness and laughter to experience, talk about, and revel in. They will come again for you. That's a guarantee. And I know you can feel the truth of it. This year was hard, but that doesn't mean that it won't get better for you, for me, for all of us. No storm lasts forever. And all of us are a domino that affects each other, that helps this life continue on. If you're unhappy with what's going on with your life, that's okay. We all got stuff. That doesn't mean it won't get better. That doesn't mean there aren't people out there who can help you. And you could say there's nobody out there that can help you. That's an immediate, heartful, I'm scared, I'm hurting reaction. That's okay. Allow yourself to feel however you're feeling, but do not tap out. You don't want to have to deal with the mess of having to come back and doing all sorts of stuff over again because you didn't finish. You will love how you feel when you realize how great things turned out because you didn't give up. And when you start looking around at your life and your day-to-day interactions with others, you'll see that you make a difference. Whether it's somebody going, oh, this guy told me a joke the other day, or he posted this thing, or she said, you will make a difference. And that's why you're here. Big, small, doesn't matter what size the butterfly wings are. When they flap, they affect, just like you and I do. So please, no matter how tough it is for you at this moment, and I know a lot of people are super struggling right now. This is just a story you get to add in the story of your life of conquering all the difficulties. You'll get to have your rocky moment on top of the stairs. Da, 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 da. At some point, you just got to go through the trials and tribulations and keep passing your spiritual, emotional tests to show, yes, this is who I am. Yes, this is what I want in my life to make it wonderful. It's hard sometimes, I know. Sometimes it's damn difficult. But you are here when others haven't been able to make it this far. So you have conquered more than you're giving yourself credit for. You've survived an insane, bizarre year. And you're still here. Take a moment to appreciate that. And then say, I am going to fight for my life. I am going to fight for my happiness, my well-being, and for what my story will be. And then fight with love and compassion for yourself. Don't harm others because it won't help you. But don't tap out either. Harming yourself won't fix it either. It's tough for all of us. Lots of people are struggling with some seriously heavy topics. And whether you got thousands of reasons or none, whether you're holding on by the white of your teeth and your knuckles, or you're doing fine. We're all here together for a very important reason. And that's 2021. So you just got to hold on. Rainbows are going to shine down upon us soon. No storm lasts forever. You matter. You're important. And if you're really struggling, there's a suicide prevention hotline. There are free therapists all over the place. There are ministers and preachers and reverends that will listen and help without punishing or damning you. There's sites that give you plenty of information. And there's thousands of silly shows out there and music to help lift your spirits if you need. Do not just wallow in the feeling. You tell those voices that they're liars, and you tell yourself something else. You hear things like, I'm not worthy, or blah, 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 and I'm not going to even put them out there. You say, you're wrong. You're a liar. I'm a good person. I'm worthy. I'm supposed to be here. Whether you believe it or not, argue with the voices in your head. Argue with the hateful statements that are being said. Tell them to shut up. And then do something better with your moment. Whether it's singing, dancing, making a fun drink, whether it's eggnog, hot chocolate, water with lemon, I don't care. Whatever works for you without harming yourself or others. Just hang on. You know how many silly things I put up? I make tons of stupid, silly little videos. Why? Because times are hard and I need you guys to be laughing with me so that we can get through this together. You really matter that much to me. Your light and your soul really matters that much to me. Even if you have nobody else you can say that about, I care whether you're here or not. So you better stick around. All right? I love you all. Happy holidays. Hang in there. If you're sad, check out any of my videos on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. And if you message me and I don't get back to you, it is not because I don't care. It's because I also have things that overwhelm me. So I'm doing the best I can every day too. Because believe me, I suffer from depression. I get sad all the time. You could hear it in my voice now. And I'm sad how many people are sad. So I love you all. Please hold on. Hang in there. We're going to make it through all of this, I promise. Stay safe. I love you.